when you were there, did it feel like that it was a changing of the guard?
No, I felt it was a new tennis, and it was very much a sort of new complete tennis that will be what we're going to look at, and what we'll be able to witness from those new generation of players coming in, which I include in that Olga Rune, in some sort of way in the middle, Daniil Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas, Yannick Sinner a lot more with the same as Alcaraz and Rune. But I think it's very much a sort of total tennis when you feel there is just not one department that maybe is lacking a little bit. The defense is there, the court coverage is there, the speed is there, coming to the net is there, playing the drop shot is there, play aggressive, play defensive, can last for whatever time it's required on the court. And I think that's very much what the new tennis on the men's side is looking for, maybe for the next 10 years or so. And I think very, very much, Novak was up to the task. I mean, he had set point in the second set to go up to sets to love. I think if he convert there, the end result is probably completely different. He had break point at the beginning of the fifth to go 2-love up after winning the fourth and carrying the whole momentum for him. So very much it was extremely close, and maybe went out from on 1 or 2 points here and there and make the difference. But I don't think it was a change of the guards. I just felt it was a new tennis, and because Novak has that type of tennis, obviously he can sustain that level. But there is a lot of players from sort of the past generation that are not that complete, that are really going to suffer against those new kids who are coming and just having, nothing you feel that could really do better, which is for me a little bit new, because before, it was really, I mean, when you look at Pete Sampras and all those, players, it was one way to play, and then if you would take that play out, it was a lot more difficult for them. Then Roger and Rafa and Novak start to arrive, but Roger was very aggressive. If you could put him in defense, then it was slightly more difficult for him. Rafa at the beginning, very defensive, struggling a little bit more on faster offense and sort of having to adapt throughout his career. And Novak was a little bit the more complete into all of that. If you take Alcaraz, for me, what is very interesting is he has almost the best of Novak, Roger, and Rafa combined, and that is new. So in that sense, I think that's going to be the new sort of tennis we will see for the next 10 to 20 years. Well, I said it on air actually when I was commentating on the BBC. I think for me, I definitely ranked it in the top 3 matches that I ever seen. And of course, there's some final I haven't seen, but and especially from before. But I think when you look at it as Roger against Rafa, Wimbledon 2008, Rafa against Novak, Australian Open 2012, and this one, you're very much, I think, having the top 3 of the tennis matches ever played. That's my personal opinion. And maybe some people will add 2 or 3 matches, but I think top 5, 100% without a doubt. And I think I could even put it top 3.
And in terms of Carlos, it seemed like, I mean, naturally, I don't know if it's because he's won so many matches and he doesn't lose. Maybe the crowd is naturally against Novak, but it seemed like there was such an affection for Carlos Alcaraz. Do you feel that maybe Wimbledon could be a home for him in the coming future, in the coming years?
I think it's more an admiration for him. I think from what I'm seeing from the crowd is more like, it's when you have this new genius that comes around, everyone wants to see him, and everyone wants to be part of the journey. And I very much feel that with him. And I think it's around the world. I mean, the welcoming that he had at the US Open last year, the cheering from the crowd, again, that's incredible match against Sinner when he was really on the ropes and Sinner was having the break and he was leading all the way and just couldn't finish it out at the end. I think it's more, when you're recognizing that there is someone that good, it's almost impossible not to be for him, unless he's playing a local player. That would be interesting to see if he plays the Brits next year, where the sort of center court is going to be. But if it's, again, anyone else, for sure that they're going to be on their side. But even though I feel, Novak has been really as well getting some great support, and I think very much the crowd wanted to have a 5-setter, a long run. They didn't want it, even when Carlos lost the first set, easily, and Carlos won the second set then. They didn't want Carlos to run away with the match. They really wanted both players to go out for battle, all out, for 4 hours and 45 minutes, just like they did. So I don't think it's going to be a sort of one-sided always for Carlos Alcaraz, but I think very much everyone feels like it's really the new genius, and everyone wants to see him. very much when you look at the first 3 Grand Slams, it's clear that there is Novak, Carlos, and the rest. And there is quite a gap between those two and the rest. That's quite obvious with the results and how the tournament has been unfolding even outside of the Grand Slam, with Alcaraz winning in Indian Wells, making the final, I think, in Miami or something, and just being really super consistent outside even of the Grand Slam. Obviously, Novak at 36 years of age playing a lighter schedule, which is normal. But when you split the first 3 Grand Slam only with 2 players, it's fair to say that the rest of the field is quite, not quite at the same level. That said, I think that's going to push them as well to sort of catch back, because just like Novak did that with Roger and Rafa, seeing them with having more Grand Slam than him and wanted to be part of the conversation, that just pushed him to elevate his level. And I think it's going to be the case on the ATP. I don't think the guys are going to look at Carlos and Novak saying, oh my God, they're just untouchable and whatever, we're going to lose to them. I think they're going to really try hard. Especially I can see Rune, I can see Tsitsipas, I can see Medvedev, all those, and Sinner being very eager and very hungry to just go and chase those titles as well. They want to be part of the conversation. They want to have more Grand Slam. For Medvedev, already won one. Obviously, Tsitsipas never won one as well. So I'm sure they're going to actually push them to work harder on their game, to come up with something even better. So I don't see it as sort of a runaway completely and there is no opposition. I think maybe it's going to take a little bit of time before they reach that level. Maybe a year, maybe less, but I just don't think it's going to be that easy in a way for Novak and Carlos to just win everything without having a say from the other players. Well, only him can know really how he will take it. I don't think, as the champion he is, it's never nice to lose for sure. And he will sing probably for few days when he will, see back those tapes and see back those points that he missed and see those 2 backhands that he missed during the tiebreak, see the drop shot that he missed in the net, a 3-2 for him in the tiebreak of the second set, see the swing volley that he decided to actually take in the air, maybe let it drop and see if the ball actually will stay in the court or not. And it's just all 2 or 3 crucial points here and there that make the whole end of the match change. But I don't think he's going to come out of this match saying, oh yeah, it's fine, I just lost it. It's just, you don't win 23 Grand Slam without being a fierce competitor and without hating to lose. So for sure, it's going to sting for a few days, but then obviously there is the US Open coming up that he can play this year. So there is a lot on the line for him. He has absolutely no points to defend until almost Paris-Bercy. And the Masters the US End Championship that he won at the end of the year. On the other hand, Alcaraz has, the US Open to defend. So it's more than likely that Novak Djokovic will be able to regain the number 1 spot at the end of the US summer swing. So I think very much he's going to get himself ready for that. I'm not sure what kind of schedule he will play, whether he's going to play the 2 Masters 1000 before or maybe just one and go to the US Open, because once again, he's 36 and you just can't have the same schedule as someone like, Carlos Alcaraz, which is obvious. But can he overpass Margaret Court? Absolutely. It's going to be, one of the, with Alcaraz equally the favorite to win the US Open and the overwhelming favorite to win the next Australian Open. So very much so, he's absolutely more than achievable for him. And obviously, I think by the end of 2024, that's where he should stand at least 25 Grand Slam and alone on the top of the world. Oh yeah, no, of course. If you have 3, 4, more Grand Slam than anyone else, how you can even, start the conversation is over. And especially when then you can say that, it's divided by surfers. So then you can say that Rafa is forever the god on clay. That is for sure as well. And Novak will never deny that. And I think very much if Novak is able to win again Wimbledon and to equal Roger at 8 Wimbledon, then that's a conversation there. And then probably on the hard court, to ever play the game is going to be Novak. So then you can sort of go into more details with the surfers. But overall, and especially when you look at the head-to-head, and we know that Novak is leading the head-to-head against Roger and against Rafa. We know he's leading on the number 1 weeks, number 1 in the world. We know he has won all the Grand Slam 3 times and even more. We know all those numbers. So then what else do you need? If it's then how much you're liked by the crowd, that is something that is, that's not a fact. That's purely an emotion. So you can't judge based on emotions. But it says purely as fact, then for sure.